have those 4 questions, but I want to remind everybody else we've got a 5-minute time limit. He deserved those extra questions. Senator Grassley.
Mr. Bessent, congratulations. I want to start out with where you and I talked about something in my office, and you remember that tongue-in-cheek comment I made to you that you're going to be asked by the chairman, will you answer all of our letters? And everybody that comes to the Hill says, yes, they're going to. And I said, maybe you better say maybe, because most people don't keep that promise. So I just wanted to remind you, if I write you a letter on my oversight responsibilities, I'd appreciate it if you'd answer it. Now to my first question. My Democrat colleagues believe, you gonna put that up? My Democrat colleagues believe the only solution to our unsustainable debt and deficit is higher tax rates and that ends up being on job creators and families alike. However, history proves that high tax rates fail to raise significant revenues. Taxpayers, workers, and investors are smarter than that. In other words, they're smarter than we in Congress that thinks that at one time a 93% marginal tax rate would bring in more revenue than a 70% tax rate or a 50% tax rate or a 30% tax rate or a 40% tax rate and so on. But as you can see from this chart, Congress isn't too smart because the taxpayers decide how much money they're going to bring into the federal treasury. Now, on the other side of the ledger, federal spending is at levels we've never seen outside of war and recession and still growing. So I'm making a statement to you, but if you'd like to comment on whether or not we have a fiscal imbalance primarily or a spending problem rather than a revenue problem.
Senator Grassley, I enjoyed visiting you in your office, and will remind you that when we were talking about the American agriculture, that I may be the first Treasury Secretary nominee in a long time who knows what a section is, 642 acres, and am involved in the farming business. And yes, we do not have a revenue problem in the United States of America. We have a spending problem. That historically, for the past 40 or 50 years, revenues, federal government revenues, have averaged about 17 to 17.5% of GDP. And spending has been slightly over that, leading us to a 3.5% budget deficit, which is manageable because we have roughly 3.8% nominal growth, 1.8% real growth, 2% inflation. Today, as you stated, and to be clear, this is one of the things that got me out from behind my desk and my quiet life in this campaign, was the thought that this spending is out of control. We are spending about 24, 25% of GDP. So as you said, 6.8 to 7% deficit. We have never seen this before when it is not a recession or not a war. And I am concerned because several times the Treasury of the United States has been called upon to save the nation, whether it was the Civil War, the Great Depression, World War II, or the recent COVID epidemic. Treasury, along with full government and Congress, has used its borrowing capacity to save the Union, to save the world, and to save the American people. And what we currently have now, we would be hard-pressed to do same.
My last question is one I ask a lot of people to come from Treasury. While I oppose tax hikes on individuals, families, and small businesses, I've long championed sensible policies geared towards shutting down tax loopholes and providing tools to IRS to detect tax cheats. A primary example is my legislation that I authored in 2006, the IRS whistleblower law. It's brought $6 billion back into the federal treasury. This program could raise billions more if IRS would use it to its full potential. So I hope I can count on you if you're confirmed, and I think you'll be confirmed, to be supportive of this whistleblower program and work to ensure its full use to its full potential.
Senator Grassley, we are in complete alignment on this program.
Thank you. Next would be Senator Cornyn.
Well, thank you, Mr.